no. I promise when I have more money, I won't feel this anxious. But it's like, no, you will. It's funny because like people who don't have $650,000 in the investment accounts, they have a hard time believing that someone who does have $650,000 still feels that way. This is a mindset problem, and it only needs a mindset solution. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Gina, and I have Dielle Charon here with me. Now, if you haven't listened to the other 2 episodes in this series, we are doing everything on how to fix your sales and your money in 2026 to have the best year ever. And then before that, we did a whole episode unveiling our new app that we are creating together. So go take a listen to those episodes and head on over to Small Business Money app to sign up for our wait list. We're going to be having so many updates that are coming your way, including a 8-hour, potentially more, coach-a-thon that Dielle and I are doing live on June 1st. It'll be like hotline coaching in real time with 2 millionaires who have been there, who have done that. So definitely go to Small Business Money app and join the waitlist to hear more about that. Now, today, we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about mindset. And actually, I think that this was the first episode that we ever did together, Dielle, was around mindset. Now, I want to ask you first, because you've been going really viral on TikTok talking about money mindset. So I just want to know, like, what are the girlies wanting to hear? What's going viral? What's like hitting? What's in the zeitgeist with money mindset these days?
You're hilarious. Healing. Like, people are wanting to heal their financial stories. So the thing that I always say is earning more money is blank. It's self-love. It's self-forgiveness. It's a lot of forgiveness work, a lot of acceptance. It's taking risk. And so something that even within my own journey that I have been realizing is that in order to earn more money, you need to heal your past. And I feel like we do that in both of our works. You kind of heal the numbers of the past and making sense of the numbers. I try to heal the identity or the story behind that. And so, yeah, earning more money, a lot of it is about healing the past, healing your past circumstances. It's very, very gas and brake. If you're trying to earn more money, make more money, but you have a story that you always spend the money that you keep, or the debt story of the credit cards and the bad sharky loans that you took is just eating up all your money, or something bad is going to happen if you earn more. You might, your marriage dynamics might change, or your family member might come out the woodworks and ask you for money. All of those stories will make it so much harder for you to move your own financial goals and your business goals forward.
Now, when you say, for our listeners, when you say story, what does that mean? Like, what's the difference between a money story and like just the truth?
What a great question. Oh my gosh. They could be both. And so when I say story, it's any narrative. It's any, this happened to me. I did this. I experienced this. And to this point, there could be a lot of truth in that, right? Like, there could be a ton of truth in that, but so many things happen in our lives, but that doesn't mean that has to be the story or the narrative that we sing to ourselves at night like a lullaby every single day, where you're reminding of that. So for example, a small story was I got a car out of college that I still drive to this day, and everybody makes fun of me. It's on its
worst car ever, everybody.
It's on its last leg. It's very much on its last leg.
Thank God.
And so I got this car, but to this point, I'm very emotionally attached to it. But I remember getting this really sharky loan to afford this car. And I remember I had so much shame. Like, the payments were like $600 for like a $8,000 car. Like, it was bad.
It was pretty bad for that car.
Bad. It wasn't okay. It was bad. And the story that I had was like, debt is bad. I'm bad. Why couldn't I just save up and afford this cash? I can't pay for things cash. Why would I want to keep that story running over and over and over again? And so something that I did was, looking back, my grandfather at the time was like, did you check the interest rate? Like, was this the best use of your money? But I was in college, so I saved up some of my graduation money and I nannied my butt off, and I was able to pay off that loan in like 18 months. And I turned that story into, no, I can pay for cash. So instead of me just paying cash at the lot, I paid cash over 18 months and I was able to pay it off and not keep those payments long term. And so just thinking about what are the stories that are helping you towards your financial goals or keeping you stuck in your financial goals. Or your financial problems or your financial situation. I'm curious, do you have any current money stories right now?
Well, I'll touch
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
But I think one way that I've been talking about it lately with my clients is the facts are like your interest rate for your loan was 200% or whatever it was, or the interest rate was this or that. I think the money story is your interpretation of the fact. So it's like, I'm a bad person, or I'm dumb, or I'm bad with money. And you can interpret facts in so many different ways. No one, it's all in your head. Like you don't have to prove this in front of a jury. You can just decide to interpret the facts a little bit differently in a way that helps you. I think I have, in terms of my money stories, I have incredibly delusional interpretations of the facts. Like even the other day, I was talking to my husband, and I have this evergreen funnel going. I'm spending $1,500 a day, which is a significant, that's like $45,000 a month. It's a significant amount of money. And I'll get a sale here, a sale there. It's like $500, $2,500, etc. There was like a day when I made 3 sales in a day, and I was just like ecstatic. Now, to be fair, it was like $4,000. Okay, like it wasn't a huge amount of money for the scale of my business. And I remember looking at my husband and just saying, I'm always winning. I'm just always winning. And like everything is working out in my favor. That's what I mean, a little delusional. So the fact is, I made 3 sales, and my interpretation is I'm on the up and up. I'm on the up and up. I could have easily been like, oh man, I only doubled my investment today and the funnel isn't working and it sucks. And then what I would have done is like that gas and brake, gas and brake. But no, I'm on the up and up. I'm letting it go, and it keeps getting better, and the algorithm keeps getting better. So I have a lot of delusional money stories. Even in like my personal life, I have like, you know, I don't have $20 million yet, but I'm like, that's like right around the corner. Even though like literally it's not, that's my thought. It's right around the corner. I'm going to be an incredibly high net worth individual.
To this point, it kind of sounds like you're manifesting.
I know.
And to this point, you laugh because it's a bad rep, right? That word has a bad rep. But here's the thing. Let's talk about this for a second. Yes. I've been wanting to create some content about this, and I've been telling myself like,
Here we are.
No, literally. And also I'm like, I want to be like the Black Amanda Francis. Like that's something I've been saying, and she's very controversial right now.
I love her.
I love her. I think she's great.
I'm so upset that she got kicked off the Housewives or whatever.
And her vibe is like immaculate. Like it's just the most openness energy. Is she perfect? No. Are some things taken out of context? Yes, right. But like
she's also a little like, she does say some things where you're like, Amanda, the general population is not going to get that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it may not even apply to the general population, right? And so, but something that I've learned a lot through our work, especially when I was just getting started in my money mindset journey, was like, oh, my thoughts create my results, and like how I'm seeing myself matters. I remember when I wanted to quit my job, it took me, this was like January of 2020, had no idea what was coming. None of us had no idea what was coming. But I remember it took me a quarter to make $10,000. Like it took me 90 days to make $10,000. I was not on track by any means on making what I needed to quit my job, which was like close to 6 figures if I wanted to pay off some debt, save up, and also make sure that my income was sustainable afterwards. Nowhere near, but I was like, no, I'm going to figure it out. And I think a lot about money, or just your thought about like, I'm going to make 20 million one day. That's just around the corner. These thoughts are more about vibrations and feelings in your body and just where you're headed versus how thoughts. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how either, right? And that year, I ended up making $300,000 with a 9 to 5 job.
You would have never been able to know how.
Oh my God, no, no, but I just knew where I was going and I knew where I was headed. And I allowed that to be my filtering system to be like, okay, I remember very clearly being like, if I'm going to quit my job, I need to go all in on learning how to sell, not any other skill, learning how to sell. I did that. And I said, if I'm quitting my job, I need to start saving. I did that. I said, if I quit my job, I need to put myself on a budget and manage my money so I know how to manage my money once I quit. I did that. I did all the things based off of the identity and the quote unquote affirmation that I had leading me. And then those little how moments came later.
To this point, one of my guiding stars is I will cross that bridge when I get there, and I'm so capable of crossing bridges. I
Mm.
have very, very high self trust in figuring it out when I get there. But also, by telling myself I'll cross that bridge when I get there, I'm not expending energy pre solving ahead of time. And what you just described is you crossed every bridge as you got there. You cross the sales skill bridge, then the savings bridge, then the budget bridge. And it's like, I don't have to know steps 1 through 10. I just have to know that I'm capable once I get there.
Mm.
And then if I'm not capable, then I'm capable of learning. Right. I think that so many business owners waste years pre-solving, pre-worrying, pre like trying to do a million things instead of just being like, what's just right in front of me right now? And knowing if I do that little thing right in front of me right now, I'll get to the 20 million. That's like the inevitable path.
I think a lot of people are like, no, 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 no. I need money now. I need money this month. What do you
Yeah,
say to people like that?
of course you do. Everybody does. Yeah. So how are you going to get money now? That's just the obvious follow-up question. The question is disingenuous from the perspective that you're like, Gina, if you're talking about all these things, you're obviously avoiding the reality that I need money right now. And I'm like, no, we're not avoiding the reality that you need money right now. That's just the current bridge that you're at. So solve it. But by coming at it from this perspective of like, I am so panicked, I need money right now. Panic is the number one thing that will kill your creativity, kill your prefrontal cortex judgment, literally like neurologically kick you into fight or flight, and your decision integrity will degrade. And all that will create is less money right now, which will make it worse. So I'm like, yes, of course, we all need money right now. Do you need to feel panicked about that fact? No, that won't help. What will help is just being like, okay, what's the next thing I got to do to get money right now?
Can I say something controversial?
Of course, you always do.
I
Do you
say,
disagree?
no, 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 I agree. Different angle. I say, no, you don't. Because here's
I
what I
love you.
realized.
No, that's actually true too. You could go into debt.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you don't. You do not need money now. And I realized this when I was making $2,500 a month as a social worker. Of course, my brain all the time when you're making that little would be like, I need money, I need money. But something that I did, and I feel like we could talk so much about this too, but something that I did was I reoriented all of my finances to be like, okay, if I didn't make a dime from my side hustle, if all I had was this, how could I feel abundant and have everything I need just from this? And that changed everything. And I realized I actually didn't need to make more money. I didn't need to make more. And I find that a lot with my clients. I was just talking to a client where she had like a quote unquote bad launch. And I was like, how bad? Like, are you talking like you didn't hit your goal by like 70%? And I said, what's the actual deficit? Because she was talking about, she wanted to do this retreat in Mexico. And she also wanted to launch this other program, like really overwork for this deficit. I said, how much money do you really need? She was like, 8K. And I was like, you don't need to do all of this for 8K. I said, I'm pretty sure you could figure out how to tie yourself over into your next launch, which was like in 2 months. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you could figure that out. And she was like, yeah, I could. I said, you don't need more money. You need to work on financial safety.
To this point, actually, that does remind me of something that I used to tell my clients all the time, which is like, I want you to imagine a banquet table in front of you with like all the fixings, the pot, the turkey and the ham and the desserts and the everything, the sides, all of it. That's all your financial options on that table. But a lot of times what we do is we take everything off the table. And the only thing we leave on the table is I have to make more money.
Mm.
and there is no other option whatsoever. So the pressure is very high because it's like, there is no backup if that doesn't work. I am screwed if that doesn't work. And I always say, put every option on the table. Put going into debt on the table. Put cashing out your retirement on the table. Like everything that money coaches would never tell you to do. Put spend all your savings on the table. Put sell your car on the table. Not because I want you to do those things, but because when you have every option on the table and then you go, okay, I'm going to start by trying to make more money. But if make more money doesn't work, I have 20 backup options. It lowers literally like your cortisol. It lowers your panic. And then you can commit yourself to trying option A, knowing you have option B, C, D, E, F, G, H, Y, etc. I think that's the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't. You don't need to make more money. It's just one of the options.
We don't need to do anything. Yeah. Whenever a client says that, they're like eye twitches, like on the Zoom, they're like, what are you talking about? But to this point, like, if we think about entrepreneurship, and this is something that I was going to say earlier too, the definition of entrepreneurship is innovation. It's making something out of nothing. It's also believing in something out of nothing too. And so it's like, no. I have multiple ways of getting here, right? I have multiple ways of getting here. I have multiple paths. It does not have to look like the one way that I think is the most safe. And what I also tell my clients too is you're going to do that. And if you still don't do this safety work, you'll hit all your goals and still feel deeply, deeply insecure.
I have a client who submitted a monthly report for Seven Figure Wealth recently, and she had just hit over $650,000 worth of invested assets outside of the equity in her home and her savings, just like her investment portfolio. And I was going through like her report and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Congratulations. Like, I'm so excited to get into this report with you. Da, 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 da. And then I go to read her comments. Like, what do you need coaching on? And she's like, I feel terrible and I'm so scared and I'm so panicked. And I was like, whoa. What's going on? And I remember telling her like, this is a mindset problem and it only needs a mindset solution. And the reason I know that is because this is the richest you have ever been in your whole entire adult life, and you're still scared. It has nothing to do with the money. Nothing. And people, it's funny because like people who don't have $650,000 in the investment accounts, they have a hard time believing that someone who does have $650,000 still feels that way. It's like, no. I promise when I have more money, I won't feel this anxious. But it's like, no, you will. You will unless you work on it. How do you work on it, Dielle? What does that even mean?
1,000 different things, in 1,000 different ways. Something for me is I look at my track record. I'm like, DL, if you made it this far, you're going to be fine, right? Like the ship is not sinking. You'll be fine, right? And if you made it this far in the way that I have, so like I've never had business debt. I've had personal, but I've never had business debt. I've never had to take out a line of credit against my business at all. And that's not a flex, but like, that's just say, imagine if you did, right? Like imagine if you use some debt to leverage some assets, right? You'd probably be farther. And so just be thinking about like, okay, I've made it this far and I did it in this way, even if you did use debt. And it's like, oh, and I've made my minimum payments all this time. Whatever it is, just going back to story, set the story up in a way for you to win by looking at your track record, number one. Number two, finding micro moments of safety. And so I do a lot of like basic, there's a roof over my head. I'm listening to this podcast on a cell phone that's paid for, that I pay the bill every month for. I have clients. It doesn't mean that I have the number that I want, but I have clients. Something that I have like a Claude AI thread of like my membership funnel. And I'm like, I don't know, it's not working. And it's like, you have 200 plus members in here. Like, can you chill out?
Stop.
Right. And it's like, oh, okay. This is not a flailing program. Like this is flourishing actually. And I'm like, oh, right. And so like, you just have to a lot of it's like reminding yourself and what are the things that you have. Brooke Castillo has this concept called the capacity to have, and where can we just have our success and say, this is what we have, the good and the bad. the good and the bad, being like, and yes, I have debt. And yes, I have, this outstanding thing, but I also have X and I also have Y, or whatever your situation is. I'm just using examples. So I would say it's a lot of looking at like, what do you actually have? And then for me, I'm curious your thoughts to kick it back over to sales. I'm always like, and I want to sell something every single day. I want to put my business out there every single day. That helps me because I know if I put my business out there every single day, if I'm moving my business forward, if I'm getting my business more visibility, I sleep better. I sleep better at night knowing that I'm doing what I can for my livelihood, for my goals, for my income.
I so agree with that. Um, I love radical responsibility. I love it. And radical responsibility just means like I take full responsibility for every result. I don't let myself be a victim to circumstances. And what that can look like a lot of times in business is like, oh no, like the economy is down, it's out of my control, or the tariffs impacted my business, or I got a wave of refund requests and someone bad mouthing me on the internet, right? And it's so easy to just be like, bad things are happening to me and I'm just a victim to them. And it's not to say that those things aren't real. Like I've worked with a lot of businesses who were deeply impacted by the tariffs, who've been impacted by changing spending habits. It's more to say, yeah, but you have 100% control over what you do and how you respond. And by the way, there's a playbook for everything. Guess what? Millions of businesses have been through recessions just like this. Millions of businesses have been through tariff wars. Like there is a playbook here that you can learn from. And so what I love about it for me is like, oh, no one or no thing can take me out of business. I just get to keep showing up every day and deciding to pivot or try a new thing or try new messaging or double down on what's working. That is such a relief that I can't be knocked out. I can maybe lose a couple battles here and there, but like I can't be knocked out. The only way I'm knocked out is if I stop.
If you shut down your company. Yeah.
But the thing with radical responsibility is it also forces you to acknowledge every one of your own shortcomings and what role you played in your, failure of any launch, of anything, of any whatever. So like if I got a slew of refund requests, I have to acknowledge what I did to create that.
How do you do that without spiraling in the shame?
I love definitions. Definitions help me a lot. The definition of shame is a feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. So I feel humiliated or distressed because I believe I did something wrong or stupid. So either you did or you didn't. Did you do something wrong? If the answer is yes, then your only job is two things. Number one, fix what you did wrong. Number two, forgive yourself for being a human being. If you didn't do something wrong, then you just have to move on. And I like, to me, it is that simple. Like I have a story from when I was in corporate and I made a huge mistake and it was actually a small mistake that turned into a huge consequence. I closed a bank account without realizing that bank account was linked to the autopay of a credit card I had kind of stopped using. And then I went into a avoidance spiral and I just didn't open my emails for months. And then I found out that I missed 2 payments on that credit card, 90 days or 60 days past due. And they had reported it to the credit bureaus and my credit tanked 100 points. So did I do something wrong or foolish? Yes, I did. That was my fault. What did I do to rectify it? I turned on autopay from another bank account to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then all that was left was me feeling terrible about making a mistake. So in that scenario, I had to apologize to my husband because we were in the market for looking for a house and then we were no longer able to buy a house because my credit sucked. I had to apologize to myself. I did feel the shame. Like I felt humiliated and I felt dumb. And I felt like that was such an outsized consequence for such a small action. But what's a girl to do? I fixed it. And now all that's left to do is move on. And I could sit here and dwell on it for 7 years because that's how long credit mistakes stay on your credit. Or I could just say, hey, you know what? This doesn't have to impact me anymore. And guess what? I ended up buying a house 2 years later with my shitty credit. I've been able to buy cars. I've been able to get rentals. Like we're moving on. It's still on my credit. It's coming off my credit in September of this year. I
Mm.
can't wait. It's been 7 years. But yeah, I think that I do take a very rational approach to shame. I'm like, I only feel this way because I did something wrong, and all I have to do next is fix it.
I think too, when it comes to shame, it's often attached to like some sort of permanency or
Yeah.
something finite, like to your
It's
point.
like a character trait that's now stamped on your forehead.
Or like I think some like people would have dwelled on, oh, for 7 years we can't do anything. Like we're shot. We can't do anything. And it's like that part isn't true. Like money and sales and business is way more forgiving than we realize. It will forgive you faster than you'll forgive yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, my credit pretty much repaired after like 9 months.
Yeah.
Like the majority of it. There's still a couple extra points that I'll gain back when it goes off, but the majority of it's back. Even like the worst, I think maybe I'm not creative enough. I think the worst case scenario is like bankruptcy. I'm like, we even have a solution, a legal solution for the worst case scenario. So what is there to be afraid of? Again, delusional.
No. I think it's helpful too, because I remember talking to a client, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny. She was like, "I have debt. What if I pass away?" She was like in her 40s.
Mm-hmm.
What if I pass away and my kids will have to like clean up my debt? And I know nothing about this, and I was like, "Insurance? Question mark?
Yeah, life insurance.
Life insurance?" And she was like, "Oh." I was like, I'm not a professional, but I think that could fix it. That's what, $200-$300 a month for a payment.
Mine is $72 a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like,
for $1.5 million payout.
yeah. I was like, that's it. She was like, oh. And it's just like going back to, we escalate problems so much when there's a solution for every little thing, for every little mistake. There's a solution. And I think that's really important.
And two, it's like, where is your emotional life like making you blind to the simple solution, the fast solution, the cheap solution? So you're only going to the big solution, the expensive solution, the overhaul solution. It's probably more than you think.
Sell with problems. Even if your business isn't perfect, keep selling.
Oh yeah. When people stop, they're like, I have to fix my entire onboarding and then I can start selling again. No.
No. There have been so many times where I didn't like a product, I didn't like an offering, I didn't like X, Y, and Z. You best believe I was still doing a webinar about it. I was still making posts about it. And I think we were talking about this in the other episodes. I just took out the I have to like everything in my business for it to work mentality. And I was like, where can my business more feel like a machine where I press 1, 2, and 3, and then money comes out on the other side? And it can be that simple. And one would say, well, your business is supposed to have all this passion, and it does. But the passion comes when I help a client. A passion comes when I make a big win in my business, or the business makes the money that I want. The passion comes when I win a cool award or whatever. But I try to neutralize my business to the point so I can make clear-headed decisions. And I just see so many people gut amazing offers, profitable offers based off of an emotion that they can control.
I think I'm curious to hear your like therapy take on this as a social worker. It's giving emotional enmeshment.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving insecure attachment. There's something, it's kind of like that enmeshment of identity with your business versus this is a job and it's a great job and I love my job. And to your point, like the best parts of my job are helping my clients, but I don't have to make it like enmeshed in who I am and my self-worth and my like all of that.
Yeah, I'm just like, grow. Change. Like if you're like
we're so unhelpful. You're just like, just grow. And I'm like, just don't have anxiety.
Yeah, I'm like, change. Like I remember I was talking to a client. She's been going viral over health stuff. And I'm like, keep doing that. She's like, no, I really
know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's so good. The health stuff is so good.
Killing it. Like sweeping.
Absolutely killing it.
And she's like, no, relationships. And I'm like, she said, this just isn't, she's saying the words, this isn't me. This isn't me. And I was like, number one, who are you?
You made the content.
Yeah, no, right. Like you made the content, yes. But I'm like, okay, number one, who are you? Since that's so aloof, like who are you? Define who you are. And then whoever you are, change it. You're now somebody different. Like, what are you talking about? Change it. You're someone new. Right. And there's so much, like I have found personally so much success in detachment. I always tell my clients this because I've been seeing a lot of like attachment, like, no, 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 this is my niche. No, 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 this is what I want to do. No, no, no. And I'm like, okay. I said, guys, I've made over $5 million in my current business. Made over $5 million. If someone today told me to shut it all down and become a dating coach, I would.
I would not be as easy to go as you.
I'm like, okay, cool. Like that, I'm like, no problem. Close. Hey, team. Thank you so much for
Pack it up.
pivoting. Right? Like we're gone. We're over here now. I'm like, cool. Because I've been talking to a lot of my clients about dating and a lot of my friends about dating. And I met my husband at 19 as a Black woman, which was very rare. And I was like, oh no, I have philosophy. I can talk about dating, no problem. And I was like, I was strange.
You could talk about anything.
I could talk about anything, right? Like that's who I
That's
am.
the identity too that you have. Like I could coach on anything. I could talk about anything.
That's who I am, right?
Yeah.
And so I think too, we're just way too attached. And that's something that I'm still trying. I think it is enmeshment. I also think it's safety. I also think it's like revenge 9 to 5. The good,
Like I have to love this. It has to be
right,
my life's passion.
right. Because I was so
Soul
miserable
sucking.
in
Yeah.
my 9 to 5, and it was so I need to be lit up about everything. No,
Yeah.
you'll be lit up about pickleball. You go be lit up about knitting. Go be lit up about, oh, I love these like TikTok creators. I've been lit up about journal ecosystems and journaling, and I've been lit up about dance, and
Right.
there's a lot of ways to be lit up, but there will always be things in work that you don't enjoy. And that doesn't mean we have to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
I had a manager in corporate who we were on, this innovation practices team. Our goal was to like influence strategy in the different product teams. So a little bit very soft skills influencing product roadmap without even having a say of product roadmap. And one of the things he would always say to us, especially when we were like beating our head against the wall with a product team or an engineering team or whatever, he would always say, it's easier to steer a ship that's moving than to steer a ship that's not moving. So if your ship isn't moving, go to one that is. Like, don't waste your time here if no one's going anywhere. Like, jump to the ship that's moving. And it's easier to rearrange that. So to your point of your client, like, yeah, maybe she really likes the idea of relationships, but health is moving. Go jump over to health and you can steer that ship better since it's already in motion.
Yeah, yeah. And I think to this point, going back to the revenge 9 to 5, will you really be that miserable doing the other thing? No, it's still within your area of expertise. It's still like I'm just saying, like, go from a sales coach to a relationship coach. I'm not going from a sales coach to a plumber, right? Or an accountant. Speaking about money, or an accountant, that would bang my head against the wall, right? Like I wouldn't do that. So like the drama also
Go cry
too.
into your bank account.
Yeah. Like
I'd rather cry into a full bank account than
always
it
and
into one.
forever. And again, that doesn't mean that you're selling your soul. The tweak that you need is still within your area of expertise. To this point of the coach who's going viral for health, stop. Why are you even posting about it? Like if you didn't want to expand more about it, like stop like why are you even posting about it? And so I think it's also too just where are we so all or nothing? We'll go on and on next week's podcast.
Tune in next week. But actually, do tune in next week because next week we're finishing this 4-part series on having the best year financially and sales wise in 2026. Also, go check out smallbusinessmoneyapp.com for all of the updates regarding the app that Dielle and I are going to be launching this year. We're going to be posting updates there along with information about our coach-a-thon that will be happening on June 1st. This is going to be a hotline call-in style 8-hour coach-a-thon. We're going to coach our faces off where you'll be able to come completely free and learn about the app, learn about our Kickstarter campaign that we're doing to help fund the app, and then, of course, get coached. Okay, everyone, we'll see you next week.